Nico Noordholt, first mate of the Zwarte Zwaan, sat cross-legged on a large silk cushion, fighting a desperate battle to keep his back straight. The Japanese officials seated opposite him in their costly robes of smooth silk seemed to have no difficulty in maintaining their upright positions. Nico envied them, as his back muscles were beginning to twitch from his efforts. On his left, Corneliszoon, chief factor of the VOC, the Dutch East India Company in Japan, didn't even make the attempt, but squirmed and slouched repeatedly. The man on his right, however, Captain Caspar de Leo, sat as if he'd had a fire iron rammed up his backside. But Nico could see the effort it cost him. Damn it all, he should be lying down. Nico had said as much to his superior before the meeting. "You're not well. Let me handle this for you, please." "No, not this time. I trust you, you know that. But it's my responsibility and mine alone," De Leo had grunted, mopping his sweating brow with a somewhat grimy handkerchief. "I must negotiate a good cargo now the officials have finally consented to come. Besides, there's nothing wrong with me other than a little bit of fever." That was an understatement, as they both knew. But Nico wisely held his tongue. He'd known De Leo for more than a decade now, and the word stubborn didn't even begin to describe the man. Arguing with him would only have the opposite of the desired effect. Underneath the cushions they were sitting on was a floor woven of tightly matted rice stalks. It felt soft and springy, and gave off a fragrance that reminded Nico of a dewy meadow at dawn. He wished he could fall backwards onto these wonderful tatami mats and stretch out his long legs before his knee joints became permanently stuck in the unnatural position they were in at the moment. However, to do so would mean to lose face to these strangers, and since they were willing to trade, despite their reservations about foreigners, that was unthinkable. He couldn't let De Leo down. "Ah, so desu ka demo?" Nico liked the sound of their language, but the business discussion seemed to be taking forever. Although the translator did his best, Nico still had trouble understanding all the nuances of the conversation and didn't feel part of it for most of the time. Corneliszoon yawned openly, earning himself a glare from the translator, which he ignored. Nico prayed a cargo would be negotiated as quickly as possible before the officials lost all patience with the rude man. "We need to return to Amsterdam soon, and it's absolutely essential that we bring valuable goods," De Leo had told the translator. "We'd be very grateful for your help." Having command of a VOC ship was a huge honor, and failure was not an option for a man like De Leo. He'd always been successful before, and if the chief factor ruined everything now with his cavalier attitude, Nico knew he'd never be forgiven. He tried to send Corneliszoon a warning glance on De Leo's behalf, but the man's attention was elsewhere. While the others droned on, Nico stared out of the window, across the narrow strip of water, which was all that separated him from the city of Nagasaki. The Dutch trading post was situated on a man-made island called Dejima, just outside the town, but the foreigners weren't allowed to go any further. Entering this exotic country was forbidden, and Dejima was the only place where they were permitted to trade with the Japanese. Indeed, it was lucky their ship was Dutch, since that was the sole nation allowed any trading rights at all now. The Spaniards had been banned years ago. The English had given up of their own accord, and Nico had heard that the Portuguese had been thrown out of Japan only 2 years ago. "The only way onto the mainland is across a small bridge, which is guarded at all times," he'd been told on arrival. "Don't ever cross it." Nico didn't even try.